Buccaneers at the Lions. Detroit -6, a serious 6.5. The 4-seed Buccaneers, of course, beat the snot out of Alex's Eagles. Sorry, prop. They talk about a team that cratered. And looks, Nick Sirianni not safe yet. Mike McCarthy safe. Nick Sirianni not safe yet. I think meeting with Jeffrey Lurie on Thursday as we're recording this, he was talking, the word on the street, I think Diana Rossini of The Athletic reported that Sirianni was, he and Lurie were reaching out to various offensive coordinators around the league, i.e., like they're going to fire their coordinators, make wholesale changes, and then Sirianni has to present Lurie with a plan, and then if Lurie likes the plan, he'll consider keeping him, which is just wild considering he's in the Super Bowl. They had to be played a playoff game 365 days ago. That's insane.
Step one on that list better be getting rid of Matt Patricia.
Yeah, Matt Patricia's got getting everybody fired. Anywho, Buccaneers won. Baker Mayfield looked awesome. Good credit to Todd Bowles. Great game plan. You saw it, and then you heard people talk about it afterwards. Just blitz the snot out of them. They couldn't do anything to stop it. Zero blitz, nonstop, aggressively coming after them. Don't think that's going to work quite as well against Detroit, only because of the offensive line that Detroit has, although Philly, in theory, has a really good offensive line. RJ, we have this is a very confusing thing in the rundown because it says RJ : R White under 53.5. And I was like, what is the under? Yeah. Is this an alt under? What's going on here?
I'm going to rush for 0 yards in that game.
I think you might.
So, yeah, I think it's interesting. I think the sharp side is going to be Tampa. I think people disagree with you that you can blitz the snot out of Goff and he's going to crumble. I think that's kind of the thought. So it's interesting. I took this line at Detroit -6 before it got up to 6.5, but it feels like if he gets to 7, the sharps are going to be all over Tampa. I'm kind of leaning the other way. I think the line should be a little higher than 7. I just don't think Tampa is anywhere near the same class as Detroit. Blowing out Philly last week doesn't change my mind on them. Their offense, 30th in red zone success rate. That didn't matter against Philly's defense. They couldn't tackle. So they succeeded with big plays there, and Detroit can give up big plays too. So I'm not saying they can't, but they are getting a little healthier, especially on the back end. And their defense, they get an easier matchup this week after facing Stafford last week. And you don't have to respect the Tampa Bay run game at all. And that's why I'm taking Rachaad White under 53.5. Rush yards. Detroit's defense allowed the fewest rush yards to running backs in the regular season, and Tampa had the worst yards per rush in the league. This is a match made in heaven for taking the under here. I just don't think White is going to have a big game, even if he gets volume in a situation where Buccaneers aren't getting blown out. It could be like a game where he gets 20 carries for 50 yards. We've seen those type of games from him throughout the year. So that's one of my props in this game. The other one's my wild card prop. I'm taking Chase McLaughlin to go over 6.5 kicking points. He's hit 2 field goals in 14 of 18 games, and he's 7 of 8 from 50 plus. He'll be kicking indoors. So as long as he puts an extra point in on those field goals, you can take that. Or you can take him just to go over 1.5 field goals, which you can find at a similar price to the -106 I'm getting in these kicking points. So I like that one a little better if you can find it, but if not, the over 6.5 kicking points is fine too.
If the defense for Tampa Bay gets after Goff, then I mean Tampa is live as hell to win this game. I do think, to your point, RJ, one of the interesting things about this game is that, and I don't want to do the transitive property here, but I think the Eagles get blown out. I don't know. I think the Eagles lose to the Saints and maybe the Falcons. Like that's how they were just uninterested in playing football. And then conversely, I'm not sure that people are really giving enough credence and credit to how good the Rams were and how good of a game Jared Goff and Detroit played against Los Angeles in that spot. Goff was like magnificent. And he's a former Super Bowl quarterback who's appeared in a Super Bowl in Goff with the Rams. Now, granted, there was a year where like Goff was in the MVP conversation. And now, so like this is not not like Jordan Love doesn't have confidence, but this is a quarterback in Goff who has been in these spots before and has got all of his weapons, got his offensive line, defense is getting healthier. You have to feel like he's really confident here, and it probably should get they'll have Sam Laporta in this game again, what a freak.
Yeah, my wild card prop, my favorite prop on the board so far this week is Sam Laporta over 36.5. receiving yards. Last week had 3 receptions, only 14 yards, but a touchdown. But what I was really encouraged by was he played 80% of the offensive snaps, which was certainly a good sign for things to come. He's already practiced in full yesterday, Wednesday, and today, which is a great indicator that he is going to be out there with no sort of snap count. He's going to play a full bevy of snaps. Typically, this receiving line is in the mid to high 40s, so we're getting a sizable discount on it as well. I think he'll be close to 100%. I think he'll play close to 100% of the snaps, and then on top of that, it's a great matchup against a Tampa Bay pass funnel that gave up the 3rd most yards to opposing tight ends this season and are especially vulnerable deep down the middle of the field. Sam Laporta has one of the deepest A-dots of any tight end in the league. He is targeted down in that splash zone quite a bit. So I love this spot for Laporta, who's going to be an every down player in this game and looks to be trending to playing a full complement of snaps, and we're getting a sizable discount here.
Yeah, my only worry with that, and the reason I think for the discount, is what if he re-aggravates the injury? It seems like he played well ahead of when anybody expected him to play, and even though he did get through that game, he's not all of a sudden magically 100%. So we'll see if he is able to do the same in this game. It is at home again, so that might be able to help him playing that familiar field. But my risk with playing any overs on him is just what happens if he can't finish the game.
Mention that pass funnel. The Lions have gotten better in terms of their pass defense with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back. I still think they're a pass funnel with Aleem McNeil back because of how much he improves their run defense. And so this is kind of a dual. I think this is a shootout. Could it end up going under? Absolutely. Any game can. But that Rams-Lions game should have gone way over if Sean McVay hadn't been so conservative and hadn't been unlucky in the red zone. If the Rams had been able to finish those drives, that game goes significantly over, in my opinion. And so in this spot, I'm going to take the over 48.5 as my total for this set of games. I'm also going to have Baker Mayfield over 253.5 passing yards. Baker has been over this in, let me double check, do the math here, carry the 1. Just kidding. He wasn't over it 2 weeks ago, but he has been over this in four of his last 5 games. The only game he wasn't over it was the 9-0 win against the Carolina Panthers, in which we also really worrying about Tampa, whether they could get it done. He's just been awesome down the stretch. And I think Dave Canales is going to let it fly. Put Mike Evans out there, put Chris Godwin out there, Kate Otten, let it rip, let it fly.